This is how I absolutely crush the onboarding process for the marketing agencies that I work with a full-on custom onboarding portal. And I'll show you how you can build exactly the same thing for your own agency. If you don't know who I am, I'm Maxi. I'm the founder of Click. I've built the backend for over 45 creative and marketing agencies doing between 50K to 10 million ARR per year. And I have a YouTube specifically showcasing on how that looks like. So I'll showcase you how you can build your own branded client portal from the start. So like full on end to end using Claude. And you get the full skills and everything I use when I build these client portals. So you can build the exact same thing yourself after this video. So this can look in a bunch of different ways depending on client, what campaign, and what the main goal is. So what I will cover in this video. We're going to have three main aspects. We want to cover the overview, so a general plan, the plan, so like step-by-step roadmap, what you would do day by day, week by week, month by month, and then of course the vision. And then we also have some add-ons such as the creatives, what's next, and so on. And this of course can look like in a bunch of different ways as said. If we also want, we can also include the partnership, creative direction, and in this case, possibly some performance as well in terms of, okay, what kind of statistics do we achieve after onboarding the client and actually start doing the work for them. So the first square, of course, we have to make sure that we have, in this case, Claude installed. I'm going to be using Opus 4.8, 4.8, not Fable, not anything else, just because I think it's fine. You don't need the most complex models. You can use the base ones to start out with, and that's completely fine. So start by downloading this. If you don't have a Claude plan, just go to the web here, search for here, Claude plan for Mac or Windows. And then it has first the plan, which you're going to need. You can start by the $20 per month plan. If not, just get the $100 per month plan later on the line. And that's the only thing that will cost you. Assuming you watch this video, you might already have it. Then just get the Claude app, search for Claude. In this case, Claude app, not Claude plan app, Claude app. And then you have the Google Documents here. And you can download this straight from the macOS, Windows, or Linux, depending on what you use. Just press on download and you have that ready to go. So the first thing I have to do is, of course, I have to find an agency which I think have done great campaigns and I want to mimic. So in this case, I have, let's pick Preacher. Preacher is a very big agency based in the US. I think they're absolutely huge. I have to, of course, write agency after this. I'm going to find them here with Preacher.co. I'm going to take their creatives as a start, mainly because to showcase as an example of how this could look like in practice. So quite frankly, I'll just take their campaigns. So let's say we go to work. So the case studies, I want to see, okay, what have they done? Let's find something new, because in this case, I did it for the Hertz campaign with the Golden Retriever, which I think was absolutely genius, by the way. But to get the specific point here, of course, for your own use case, just pick your own clients. But for as an example, I want to pick something which is GMC is also quite cool. There's so many great case studies here. Obviously, a huge agency. Anything that sticks out? ESPN, Fanta is quite cool. ACL, Sport Clips, Walt Disney is quite cool. I mean, there's so many to pick from here. Let's see what they did for Fanta. Something unique. A video. Okay, I see. And then a couple of videos. And then if I compare that to the GMC one, I mean, there's so Price Picks is also huge, of course. Wow, so many different case studies they have here. If I go up here and pick something more specific, let's say GMC, and do some research over here. I mean, yeah, let's pick this. Or I think Fanta is a bit more fun to use, just because we can use their colors and leverage that as well. So once I have a campaign or something I want to showcase to the client as an onboarding portal, which will end up look something like this with creative vision and so on, let's go to Claude. I have a done for you prompt, which has been done here called Dashboard Premium. However, worth noting before I start here, if I move my camera possibly a bit up, is that you don't need to build the own skill yourself or anything along those lines. You can just steal mine, and that's completely fine. I have it for free down below, at no cost whatsoever. So you can just download it and steal the exact same thing. So you don't have to experiment building the nice visual yourself. So the thing I'm going to do here is I want to write some context. So I'm going to put a brain dump here from our whisper flow, and I'm just going to write the context I want to actually build here. Now that I have finished the prompt, I mean, it's quite straightforward. I just linked the other dashboard I've built so you can understand the context. And of course, make sure that you are on the code one, so the Claude Code one. And if you're using something else like Codex, that's usually fine. Won't make a bit of a difference. It's usually just like the instructions and the skill which I will give you, which you can follow quite well. So I want to say here, hey, I want to build a dashboard for X company. In this case, just say, hey, I want to build a dashboard for my own company. Obviously, I don't want to run a marketing agency, so I can't do that. And then once that's been done, you're going to write some examples, which I have given mine. You can write whatever you want. And then I want this to be around the Fanta campaign. In this case, just write like, hey, I run a marketing agency. I'm running a campaign for this, let's say, local HVAC company or local whatever company, plumbing company, and they have these visuals. Here's the logo. And of course, something to keep in mind, like this is after done the campaign, so it's obviously going to be look a bit different. However, of course, you can still have some visual aspects. You can have the logo, and hopefully work with some established companies which have some visual stuff like pictures about like results. That's just something they get pretty early. So that's the thing you want to add. So you won't have, of course, all the visuals beforehand. However, you can still make it super, super pretty by just adding like the logo, the brand, and other stuff as well, just from the get-go after getting some resources. And then I say take the visuals, logos, presentations, and so on, all from the link above. And then I want to say some things I want to add. Here it can be total custom. Just say like, hey, I want to add X amount of things, or I want to have like specific roadmap or something else. Just add that in. And that's completely fine. And I want to send this away to the AI and hopefully do all the work for me in this case. And then I will come back to you once this has been finished running. So I'm going to send this and then it's going to start working. So finally, the Claude has finished running and just kind of gives me some back and forth between building the platform, saying like, hey, I have now been thinking about this, some URLs and some other things as well, reading files and so on, the typical stuff. But the most important part here, without outputting much of the tools and text, it has now finished with the output. So I'm going to open this up and showcase the example. So it's right here in my arc. It's a very, very nice first page here, which I think looks absolutely stunning with some visual part. And you can see the work here with a live video. We can also see like the growth, like the most important number in the first page. And of course, it's something you would add later down the line. Or if you also want to add the vision, like here we're striving to do X result within X amount of days. Very, very commonly that you have a pattern, okay, I want to achieve this, and you write that on the first page. Then kind of which things to do, the story, and the engagement, and so on. And is this the most amazing onboarding system that you'll ever see? Probably not, but for being one prompt, I think it absolutely crushes. You have to remember, I wrote one prompt once. I did not go back and forth. I did not use some insane Fable 5 or some new GPT model. I just said like, hey, I want to create an onboarding system for my client. And of course, you can have multiple clients under here as well later down the line and manage everything here by adding client accounts. You can see kind of the engagement. Of course, this was a couple of years ago now, but that's besides the point. I think you can do this even in the future as well. So then we have the vision, kind of what the main purpose of the campaign is. You can do whatever you want here. As said, it's not meant to be perfect. It's the first prompt I do. I haven't mastered this or like done some crazy analysis. I just asked AI to create me a mock-up. Okay, how could we make this look in practice and so on. Then the creative part, which essentially means what's the goal. You can see the video through here. It opens up a new link through here and you can check it through there. If you want to, of course, you can download the video as well. I won't go that far, but you can see the hand-drawn pictures, the things they actually delivered, which is the creative part. And here, if you want, you can create AI mockups, quick visuals, maybe some other clients and some other visual stuff you have done in the past, whatever you want. And then later down the line, once you've actually delivered the visuals, you can add that as well. So this is, of course, post the campaign. Then the plan. So what is the main plan for each date? 2019, the production, the start, the launch, and everything else. And then what's next, which I think is a great part, quite short here though, where we can essentially say like, here's the next steps on what we could potentially implement and how we can make this like an everlasting campaign and so on. And yeah, for being a first off, I think this is absolutely stunning. I mean, I haven't done much more than this. I wrote a prompt. I said, take some information about the Fanta and so on. How would this work in practice, you may ask? Well, you just find your client. And if I can write down in my Excel drawer here, in my note taker, it will essentially be very, very straightforward. And if you don't follow the exact steps, just do this. Say, okay, and maybe make this dark so you can see the text, and make this large, or Excel. And okay, so this would be like the plan step by step. Well, you want to choose your client you want to do the work with. If it's a local HVAC company, plumbing, if it's online marketing agency, I mean, whatever you want to do, choose it. And then brand it with their colors, with their logos, and with their current creatives or anything else you have. Then just ask Claude to create it for you. Most importantly, add important and KPIs so you can understand like which parts are important to actually implement, important. So yeah, that's kind of the straightforward part here. You can do it a bunch of different ways depending on the style. As I said, you can do performance if you're doing Meta ads, if you're doing YouTube, if you're doing Instagram engagement. I mean, whatever you're doing, you can add those numbers as well through automation and through API keys. So that's also an option that you want to add. Creative part, I think, looks the best. And as I said, I mean, you can do whatever you want here. Sky's the limit. You play around with it. You make your own style. For example, here we have Noble People, which also is a big agency where they do the Whoop campaign, as you can see, Whoop. And then they have like the plan, what they're meant to do, the creative direction, and the partnership, and so on. I think this looks absolutely stunning, even though it's only one prompt as well. So be creative. I mean, do some thinking. Ask Claude, like, here's my client, here's what they do. They are a local construction company, and I want to make their onboarding process and work with me the best possible experience. Because quite frankly, there are only two paths you can go to. It's either you make the typical route, which I think is completely fine for most people. It depends on what end user you are and what you want to achieve. For the bigger ones, obviously, this is the right way. Either you write Slack updates, here's my logo and here's my stuff, I mean, check it out, or here's the creative stuff, or here's the meta ads, or you do it like this. Customer or custom client onboarding, and just client portal overall, which you can follow along even after the onboarding process. Two paths. Either write Slack updates or you make them a custom portal. I mean, I know that the latter one is obviously going to create much better client satisfaction long term. So as said, play around with Claude, go into here, write your prompt, do your thing, and I think it will turn absolutely stunning. If you also do some back and forth, as said, this was one prompt and that's it. So if you want the skill, just download it for free below. No strings attached whatsoever. I want this to be a no-brainer for you. I want to make your marketing or creative agency like the best it possibly can. And I have many other systems with other videos, so check those out. So yeah, let me know if you want to have any questions. And I wish you all the best. Be creative and have fun.